Chef Ramsay had the honor of hosting a very special wedding service. But what was supposed to be a fun night turned out to be one of the worst dinner services ever. You see, in the 7th episode of Season 15, Chef Ramsay had a special night planned for a dear friend and colleague. I'm talking about the very skilled Andy Van Willigen, who was the sous chef of the Red Team from Season 7 to 14. And well, she was here to celebrate her wedding reception.
Please welcome the bride and the groom, Mr. Bryce and Andy Katzbeck.
Chef Ramsay, of course, was well aware that this was going to be a risky move. But since they were already down to 11 contestants, he expected things to go pretty smoothly. However, both teams joined hands to ruin the entire service.
Terrible start. 5 minutes, fire the top table's entrees.
Well, in the beginning, everything started off with a bang, with both the wedding party and contestants being equally excited. The menu featured challenge-winning dishes, and since the main table was shared by both teams, they had to send out their food at the same time. Unfortunately though, nothing went according to plan since mistakes started to pile up one after another. And it's crazy how both teams started to screw up only moments after the whole thing began. In the Red Team, Jackie Fuchs ended up burning the garlic for the risotto. And to make matters even worse, after Ashley Nicole pointed this out, Jackie continued to cook unbothered. It was only after sous chef Christina forced her to refire it that Jackie finally tossed the burnt ones out. Well, she wasn't too happy about it, but does that even matter?
Really? You're gonna tell Chef Christina? What the Ashley?
I mean, Jackie should have known better. Like, how could you serve something that wouldn't only smell, but also taste like it was burnt? Frustrated, she got back to working on the refire, and when she finally sent the risotto to the pass, she only sent half of it up.
First table, 2 risotto, got 1.5 portions.
What was she up to? Was she doing this on purpose or something? Meanwhile, in the blue kitchen, it was Chad Gelso and Joe Ritchie's turn to screw things up. While Chad sent overcooked scallops out, Joe sent risotto that lacked herbs.
No, herbs.
Herbs, gotcha, chef, sorry.
At this point, I think sous chef Andy was already contemplating her decision to bring the celebration over to Hell's Kitchen.
Now they f***ed up.
But again, I think she expected that something would go wrong anyway because she'd already been the sous chef 6 times. If the poor start by both teams wasn't enough, 45 minutes into the service, things came to an abrupt halt. Chef Ramsay found Danny using a regular pan for cooking the scallops.
Danny,
Yes, chef.
are you using a non-stick pan?
No, I'm not using a non-stick pan.
Like, come on. Everybody knows that you have to use a non-stick pan to cook scallops. What's more, Danny had years of experience under her belt. Things got even worse when she gave her reason for using the pans.
I went through all of them, chef. I didn't want to stay here and do nothing, chef.
And it was right there in front of her eyes. Chef Ramsay was disappointed in her, and just as you'd expect, soon enough, the scallops started to stick to the pan. Chef Ramsay had enough of her crap and decided to take matters into his own hands.
There's a reason why we put these in a non-stick pan. Does anyone know why?
So they don't stick to the pan.
I could totally understand his frustration. That was meant for sous chef Andy's table. I mean, how long should he wait to get one perfectly cooked batch of scallops for the newlyweds? At this point, Ramsay was hoping that at least one dish would turn out to be good. The entire appetizer round was disappointing, but the entrees turned out to be far worse. Both teams started on their orders, but when Hassan Musulmani and Jared Bobkin brought their chicken to the pass, it turned out to be raw. So, how do you think Chef Ramsay reacted? Well, of course, he was pissed.
This is not happening.
There wasn't a moment that went by with Ramsay not being frustrated or pissed with both teams throughout the entire service. As Hassan and Jared got back to work, Jared was able to get his refire accepted, but Hassan wasn't ready yet. However, Chef Ramsay couldn't wait any longer, and he was forced to send the blue team's order out. Poor Andy's parents never received their orders, and things got so bad that some of the other diners had to share their food with them.
Seriously, you think the mother of the bride could get some food around here?
Well, thankfully, Chef Ramsay sent the food out and didn't actually have to wait. Because, well, when Hassan sent his chicken to the pass for the 2nd time, it was raw once again. At this point, the famous chef was infuriated. Hassan immediately dashed towards the station to start working on his 3rd attempt, which is when the entire red team pulled in to get the job done. And finally, it was accepted. As both teams were working on their last ticket, the service was coming to an end. And just when Chef Ramsay thought that things would end on a good note, Chad destroyed his plans when he sent raw salmon to the pass.
Hey, you're cooking the easiest entree.
Regardless of their awful performance, the service was successfully wrapped up. but not without Chef Ramsay's complete embarrassment. Following this awful dinner service, both teams were named joint losers, which isn't surprising at all. However, Chef Ramsay left everyone shocked when he eliminated a contestant that nobody expected would leave so soon.
Awesome.
That's it, one bad night and he was sent home packing. After the episode aired, several viewers believed that Hassan's elimination was pretty unfair. Now, according to this specific viewer, they claimed that Danny should have been the one to leave that night. Let's not forget about Jackie too, who dodged the bullet on so many occasions. Well, I get that sending raw chicken to the past like Hassan did is unacceptable, but both Jackie and Danny were far worse. Speaking in Hassan's defense, another Reddit user said that Hassan's elimination may not be a robbery, but it was definitely the wrong call. If you ask me, I think that this was definitely Hassan's worst performance, but given the chance, he would have bounced back right away. Knowing how things could get really unpredictable at Hell's Kitchen, I don't know why anyone would like to host their quinceañera night in this kind of heated environment. And well, that's exactly what happened in the 10th episode of Season 11, where the night was supposed to be all about celebration, but it turned out to be a damn nightmare. Plus, it wasn't just a nightmare for the girl who was celebrating her birthday, but for the two contestants who had no idea that it would be their last service. As always, the quinceañera's menu had the winning dishes from the previous challenge, and right off the bat, the blue team was on fire. The team rapidly sent out their appetizers at a fantastic pace, all thanks to John Scallion and Anthony Rodriguez's awesome teamwork.
Ceviche, 2 ravioli and a Caesar first.
However, in the red team, Amanda Giblin ran into some tuna trouble, which left the red team frustrated. When Amanda finally sent her tuna to the pass, they were broken, and this left Ramsay in dismay. Thankfully, her refire was accepted, but at this point, the red team was already behind with their orders. The blue team, on the other hand, continued to pump out appetizers for the head table.
Why is all this tuna broken? Look. Oh, God.
If this continued, the red team would surely lose. So before things got worse, Nedra Harris decided to help Amanda at her station. But did Amanda accept her help? No, she swiftly declined it.
You need something, Amanda?
Nope.
Nedra, however, continued to work without Amanda's knowledge because she knew that Amanda would be doomed.
Man, I'm going right over there right now to help her out.
But nobody could predict the disaster that was about to come. When the tuna was sent to the pass, this is how it turned out to be.
Just touch that with your fingers.
Stone cold.
It's ice cold!
What followed was a blame game where Amanda shamelessly blamed Nedra, and Nedra was left visibly shocked. She only tried to help, remember? Back in the blue team, John and Anthony finished their part of the appetizers thanks to their strong teamwork.
That's it on apps. Not nice.
At the very same time, the red team had a huge backlog of orders. The delay was starting to frustrate the hungry diners, who were getting impatient with the long wait times. The event planner really seemed to want to get the waltz started as well.
Don't let us down, please, yeah? We need to start the waltz here tonight.
Technically, the waltz is usually started after all the appetizers go out, but Amanda and Nedra were making that impossible. Even Jean-Philippe's plea made no difference to any of them. Sometime later, when Nedra was walking with the refire to the pass, the most annoying thing happened.
Here.
Oh my God.
This could have easily been avoided had they just communicated with each other. That's what every chef does in the kitchen to avoid bumping into each other. All they had to do was call out, but no, their ego didn't allow them to. Chef Ramsay was absolutely frustrated with the two, and poor Jean-Philippe couldn't hold back the waltz anymore.
They need to start dancing, chef.
Oh,
These contestants were leaving no stone unturned to screw up this poor girl's memorable night. While Jean-Philippe got on with his job, Chef Ramsay wasn't having any of it.
hey, fuck off.
Well, I agree that it was mainly Amanda and Nedra's fault. But the red team could have easily tried to bring the situation under control by working as a team. They did the complete opposite, so they totally deserve Chef Ramsay's outburst. The appetizer round was totally trashed, but would the entrees be any better? Sadly, the blue team started to lose their momentum, and the red team had no momentum anyway. Both teams had to start with the head table. In the blue team, Zach brought less portions of potatoes to the pass, which could be solved really easily. But when Barrett brought his linguine to the pass, it was a whole different story.
Just taste it. Crunchy fucking linguine. No spinach.
Despite that, the blue team served their side of the entrees to the head table. The red team's story wasn't any different, and this time it was Nedra's chicken.
Look at that, touch how dry that is.
Now that the head table had received their food, both teams were ahead with dishing out their orders for the remaining guests at a good pace. But that's when Zach sent out fewer portions of potatoes yet again. If that wasn't enough, he even started to show an attitude to Chef Ramsay.
I told you get lots of potatoes on.
I gave some already. Calm down.
How the hell could the famous chef chill when everyone was doing nothing but frustrating him the entire night? While Zach was berated for his oversmartness, Chef Ramsay also lectured him for his poor attitude. That probably helped to make a difference, since Zach did eventually walk with enough portions of potatoes. It was crazy to see Zach transform into this totally different and arrogant person so quickly. And that's not the kind of attitude you need to have in a place as heated as the kitchen. Anyway, when both teams were on their final ticket, the mistakes continued to pile up. Barrett's kebabs turned out to be rubbery,
Charred fucking stick in a piece of rubber bullet.
and in the red team, Cindy's beef was still mooing.
This ribeye still got his fucking horns on.
But the good thing is, both the refires were accepted and the service came to an end. However, that doesn't mean Chef Ramsay was done. He had to share a piece of his mind with both teams, and it's safe to say that he was damn pissed.
Yes, it was special, alright? Especially painful.
While the blue team did have a good start, they didn't have a good finish. The entire event turned out to be a complete failure, and both the teams were equally responsible. Everybody knew that there wasn't going to be a winner for this service, but Chef Ramsay shocked everyone with a double elimination.
Amanda, give me your jacket. The time is done in Hell's Kitchen.
And then came another blow.
Barrett, give me your jacket.
This shows how pissed Chef Ramsay was with both teams. I honestly think that they should stop hosting special events because they rarely turn out to be successful anyway. Do you really remember any dinner services that actually ended on a good note? Don't forget to share your thoughts with me in the comments. Anyway, Chef Ramsay had to literally question his decision of choosing the final 6 for the Black Jacket Challenge in Season 8. That's truly how disastrous this service turned out to be.
That's all I asked for. Yes, sir. Pay a bit of respect.
In the 11th episode though, the final 6 contestants were all set to prove their worth to Chef Ramsay. The famous chef was looking forward to an exciting night, but who would have thought that the service would take an unexpected turn? What happened is, just as the service began and the first order came in, Sabrina Brimhall and Gail Novenario screwed things up.
That is cooked to fuck. There's no colour.
The funny thing is, when Trev McGrath saw them screwing up their first order, he was very confident about his spaghetti, but Chef Ramsay rejected that too.
Pasta's overcooked and it's stewed.
While the three got to work on the refire, Sabrina and Trev got into a screaming match with each other.
4 minutes. That pasta's gonna cook in 4 minutes, Trev.
There's pasta in the bag!
To be honest, anyone would have screamed at Sabrina because she was really irritating. She kept pestering Trev despite his several attempts to answer her. Well, I think Trev was more bothered about his spaghetti being rejected than Sabrina, to be honest. Well, this didn't sit well with sous chef Scott, who chewed Trev out anyway.
Get your shit together and cook the pasta!
Despite that, the refire was finally accepted and Chef Ramsay was able to send out the first order. However, the animosity between Trev and Sabrina didn't end there. Trev wasn't communicating well with Sabrina, and naturally, this was affecting the entire team. Seeing this ridiculous scene unfold, Chef Ramsay was furious.
I need a team, less shouting, and how about a little bit more cooking?
Why couldn't they put their differences aside and just argue at the dorms? The dysfunctional teamwork was affecting the entire team and the orders kept piling up. It wouldn't be long until the customers started to leave. And so Chef Ramsay had to do something about it before it was too late. Seeing the backlog, he had no other choice but to start with the entrees as well. But did that help? Not one bit. There was absolutely no momentum in both kitchens, and Chef Ramsay was infuriated. Plus, Gail's fish only made things worse.
That's what I got in the past. When it's brown is cooked, when it's black is fart.
Every single thing was just a mess, a really hot mess.
What's wrong with you?
I'm trying to work, Trev. I'm trying to communicate.
You may fart, but there's shit all coming out.
An hour and 15 minutes into the service, no food was being sent out. So Chef Ramsay took charge and ordered Nonna Sivley to fire the steak for Diane. Gail knew that there was no room to make mistakes since the entrees would have to go out at the same time as Nonna's steaks. Thankfully, she was able to succeed and the entrees started to fly out of the kitchen. However, Sabrina had to destroy the momentum all over again thanks to her absent-mindedness.
She's given up. The face tells a story.
No, I haven't, Trev.
Well, I thought that at least Jillian Flathers, Nonna, and Russell Cook would give it their best. But when Jillian and Russell joined in on the mistakes too, I had no hope for the service. Are you wondering what they did? Well, check this out.
That is salty as fuck. They're undercooked. Get your eyes tested.
Their mistake was an absolute train wreck. And it was one mistake after another, like some sort of chain reaction. Chef Ramsay had enough of them and sternly warned them for the last time. The warning did work, but not for so long.
Let's all just shut it down.
After Ramsay's stern orders, the contestants did send their entrees out at a rapid pace. But when Russell sent out a raw ribeye, the famous chef made sure to keep his promise.
Off! Get out! Yeah, that's right, get out!
Wow, these contestants just got kicked out in the very first Black Jacket dinner service. That's absolutely terrible. While the entire service was disappointing, it did turn out to be good at the very end. And yeah, this was the service that sent Sabrina home, and thank God for that. It was getting really hard to tolerate her on the show, not just for the contestants, but also for the viewers. I would have gone insane if I had a person like that on my team. The problem with Sabrina was that she didn't mind throwing anyone under the bus for her own mistakes. And she didn't even have to think twice about it. In one of the discussions about Sabrina's backstabbing, one user wrote that Sabrina was just like Elise Harris. And honestly, I can't agree more. They were both so whiny. Both of these contestants easily threw their team under the bus, never took responsibility, always thought of themselves as the best, and never cared about being team players. If they were both in the same seasons, they would have either been the best of friends or the worst of enemies. What do you think? Which contestants would you like to see in one season together? Well, join me from my Discord server where we can go on at length talking about some of the craziest moments from the show. For those of you who always want a little extra, I've got an exclusive server just for you. Because who knows, just when you think the service is going to be fine and steady, one contestant may throw the entire thing around. Well, I really hope you enjoyed my video, and if you did, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to check out this post right here, it's even crazier.